Hello. It's Friday morning. And we're gonna work on this painting. This is the rest of the paper towel I had. Like, this is all I had left on the roll. But I remembered to grab a new roll of paper towel. How am I today? I'm doing well. I had a lot of fun yesterday. I get to paint today. It's Friday. I have breakfast that I'm trying to finish up. Luna Gazer gifted a sub too. Pipe Power. Thank you. And we also have a 15-month resub from Sherlock913. So I gotta finish my breakfast, and then we'll work on this painting. But my goal for this painting is it's really intense. Is this breakfast stream now? For a few minutes. What I need to do is I need to paint the sky, the dark part, and it's way too intense. So I'm gonna finish that, and once I'm happy with that, I'm gonna put stars on it. And then we'll see how long that takes us. But those are the things I'd like to get done today, because at the very least, those stars need to dry super well. And then we'll see how long that takes us, because I could keep going on it if it doesn't take us long, or I could talk about the thing I need to get done before mid-August in a painting. Vagabond, it could be more intense. Yamadorgan says, I do like how it is now. I mean, don't get me wrong, these colors are pretty. They're really pretty. It's just a lot. And my goal was not to do that, and I did it. So, I also think I might do a second study of more of like the Milky Way instead of Aurora, and then kind of get a feel for how I feel about both of those for what I'm going to be doing for the thing I have to do for mid-August. But we will talk about that in a bit. For now, I'm gonna eat my yogurt. What am I having? This is Greek yogurt with Morning Summit cereal, honey, and golden raisins. I have this for breakfast a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll put, like, if I make a jam and I've thawed one of my freezer jams out, I'll put that in it. The muscadine does not go well, but like when I've done the strawberry or the peach or like the kiwi jams, those go really well with the Greek yogurt. Isn't Morning Summit the big cereal? It is. But I use it like a granola on my yogurt. So it takes forever to get through. And if it's a little stale, I don't notice. Because right now I'm at the end of a bag. And it's like mostly crumbs. But it has almonds. And oats. And dried cherries. More almonds. Flaky pieces. It's probably my favorite cereal. Yeah, that's something good to point out. Steven has a dance emote now to match mine. So Ilian did that and they turned out super cute. We have a 14-month resub from Luna Frey Belmont. Thank you. Okay. Now we're good. Okay, so we need to tone down the sky because it's way too intense. Where's my reference image? I have not put my iPad back here in like 2 months. So I'm stuck using phone screen, which is smaller, but that's okay. All right, so this is my palette of all of my Aurora colors. And I'm out of room on it for dark sky. So let's get another palette and put this one off to the side. This one does need to be cleared off though. Spray bottle. iPad lives elsewhere. It lives on my computer desk. And I just haven't bothered to move it. I really only use it for painting. And having sumo stats up when we watch sumo. That's it. This does not want to come off the palette. Let's let that sit a minute. I suppose we could talk about this while I sit a minute. So, this is a stretcher bar. So, it has this little lip right here. And this is the part, like this outer part is like this part. Hi, Kepi. So it keeps it off of the rest of the wood for when you're painting, so it would be very taut against this little tiny edge. So this is a 40-inch stretcher bar. It's quite large. So this is the large side. The painting is going to be 40 by 30. So I have 2 of these, and then I have 2 of the 30s. So here's one of the 30s. That one fits on screen. So these slot together. Like so. And, let me not hit my mic. It's kind of like a weird puzzle. So, they slot together. And then you get the little hole for the stretcher bar keys. And you stretch the canvas across it after you make a frame. Anyway, so I'm going to be building a canvas and stretching it from scratch. I also have... Sorry, I don't want all the wood that I have over here for this to fall over. I have support bars. So these go in the middle. And they fit together like this. And then you have a cross brace that goes in the center to make it sturdier. Oh, this is a weird cut. Oh, it's not very deep. Okay. And you want to use those once you get to a certain size canvas to help. So I'm going to be stretching a canvas. I might do that next week. Stretch the canvas, or sorry, build the frame, stretch the canvas, gesso it. No, I didn't cut myself. I'm scraping off the paint. And it did make a squeak, but that was on the glass, not my hand. So I'm going to do that probably next week, and then I might do another sky study, because the look of the sky in that painting is going to be what makes the whole piece. So I need to figure that out. So I might do a second sky study and do more of a Milky Way look and see how I feel about that. Crossbars, because it's not okay to have the bowing canvas. Yeah, you don't want the canvas to distort and not be square. Or flush against the wall. That's another problem. So yeah, I'm doing this painting, the big one, for a very special reason, and it will be made clear eventually, but it's not something we can talk about yet, so I'm very excited about it. I'm almost done cleaning this palette so I can start putting new color on it. It's a secret to everybody. It's a secret to a lot of people. All right. Clean palette. Palette is not dry though. Do patrons know? No. Secret canvas. It's secret. It's on the internet. All right, I want some shading gray, I think. Because we're trying to tone down the intensity of everything. Because everything is too bright. I'm gonna grab some glazing liquid. Stay there. It's almost empty, so I have it sitting like this. And the second I flip it right back up, it's not gonna be what I need it to be. All right, so my plan to tone this down is to take shading gray, which is a transparent liquid gray. Actually, it's carbon black. It's a transparent carbon black, but it looks gray over white. And paint over all of the dark areas and then blend it down on top of the Aurora. Because it's going to darken it, and then later when I start to bring back the Aurora stuff, I can like do the same thing but in reverse with glazing liquid to like put light blue on top of this later. So my hope is that it will tone all of it down a lot. And my thought is to paint it over everything on purpose. And then just put more layers on some of the darker areas. That's my thought. Because right now, it doesn't look like there's one on top of the other. It just looks, I should have probably put this in a cup instead of just flat on a flat palette. Because it's liquid. So, transparent gray. And like I said, this may take a few layers, and I think I'm going to paint it basically over everything. I think I'm going to try and leave it off the areas that are supposed to be bright though. And it's going to be a very much a trust the process thing. That actually helped a lot. Like, in here, it really pushed it back a lot. Good. That's what I was hoping for. That's a good question, Mr. Raichu Dude, who says, actually, what color is the sky during the phenomenon? Like, how dark is it? I've only seen photos and video. I have not seen it in person. I live too far south, where I live now. And that's not to say it can't happen. It's just much more rare. Yeah, they make noise. I don't know if people know that. Emmy the Bat says, I've had a dark sky and pretty luminous green aurora and it crackles. Yeah, it makes a noise. Which I saw in a video once and I was like, no. Hi, Renee. Something nice and calm to watch while I regret my life choice to go out in the sun. Ooh. Yesterday, the weather report teased us with rain, and I went outside for a bike ride, and it did not rain as much as I hoped it would. This is helping so much more than I thought it would. Good. All right, let's work on the sides and let the face dry. Okay, so like the face is dry, but now all the edges are... This one's mostly dry. I can set it there. That helped a lot. I'm real glad. So I think I'm gonna do another layer of it in a second. And then we'll put some stars down and probably chill. And then at some point I'll start doing more of the Aurora back on top. YT Glitchy says, I haven't painted since year 7 high school because I was just so bad and I gave up and I never picked it up as a subject and I kind of regret it. I did not take art in high school. All my friends were the artists in high school. The ones who always took art and drew like all the time and they would just carry sketchbooks. I took photography and in my school that was considered part of technology education, just like shop class was. Shop class was tech ed. And then I went into college and I was like, I want to do more photography. And they were like, but that's art. They were like, you have to take art classes. So then I did, and I struggled through drawing 1. And then I struggled through drawing 2. And then around that point, I think I decided to be an art education major because I wanted to teach photography. So then I had to take metals and ceramics and drawing 3 and painting 1. Was that it? I'm trying to think of how the art building at Stout's laid out. Metals, ceramics, printmaking. I took screen printing. That was a lot of fun. And then I had like 2 or 3 classes that I got to pick that were like art focused, but like pick the medium. Like if you were a painter, you would take 3 painting classes or metals or whatever. And I picked graphic design. And I had to convince them to let me do that. And they were like, well, we could count it as drawing. So that's what I did. In college, I liked drawing better than painting. I did not love doing painting. Still a little sticky. So yeah, big canvas I need to have done by like mid-August. So yeah, my plan is to build the canvas, stretch it, and gesso it next week on a stream so you can all see how that goes. And I haven't done that since college, so that'll be fun. Renee says, when did you start to enjoy it? Ooh, not at the start of doing YouTube channel. I still wished at the time, I was like, I just wish I could do chalk pastel instead. But that's a lot messier inside of a house because it is dusty. And paint is not dusty. So, somewhere in that first year, I was like, oh, I can paint. This is better than drawing on chalk. And now I feel much more competent with painting than I do with chalk pastel. Vagabond says, that was in the apartment with 2 kittens, too. Yeah, I made the mistake of doing a pastel drawing in my college dorm. Actually, the daytime one. Or maybe it was the nighttime one. It was one of the time of day ones I did in my dorm. And everything was blue. There was so much blue everywhere. Renee says, so the moral of the story is keep at it. I mean, that's what I've always said to, like, students when I was teaching. Like, listen, you're already further than I was at your age because I didn't take art in high school. Did I teach public or private? I taught public school. And I'm pretty sure I've told the story of one of my favorite things is I made all the students find a picture of a celebrity or musician, or they could draw a friend or a family member. Like, it didn't matter, but they had to have a portrait they found online or brought in or took. And then I printed it off for them in black and white so they could see the value. And I made them draw it. And then I taught them how to draw features of the face, and we went over them, and like I would put an eye up on the projector and then we'd work on drawing it. And I talk about like how I was doing it and like the shapes I was finding. And we went through all the pieces of the face. And then we talked about like the proportions of the face and like looking at how much space is here versus here if someone's head's tilted just a little bit. And then I had them redraw those portraits, and then they would turn them in, and I still had the original, and some of them tried real hard and they just really struggled, and some of them tried real hard and they didn't struggle because some people just have that innate ability to draw. And then some of them didn't try, of course, because it's high school. And then my favorite thing to do would be to like give them both back at the same time. Like the one that they did before we talked about things, and then the one where they really tried hard and we spent weeks and weeks on portraiture, and put them next to each other and be like, look at your improvement. was one of my favorite things. But the chalk pastel project we did was also really fun because we would do something about this size as a group. We'd all draw the same, and I'd talk about like, oh, well, now I'm picking up the tan color, and I'm going to do some lines here because you can see, and I'd point on the reference image where I saw that and where I was drawing it, and they all turned out nice. And then I made them draw a full-size one, like an 18 by 24, like my time of day ones, from whatever photo they wanted. That was also a fun project because they all turned out like super colorful, and they all felt really competent in using it because we had done the smaller ones together. There were fun projects we did. What I need to do is next time Stephen goes to see his parents, or I go, also, I guess, for a holiday or something, I need to bring my box back of art stuff, my lesson plans and examples. All right, how's this doing? All right, dry enough for another layer. This time I should be smart and put this in a cup instead of flat. It says I sometimes forget Utah High School. I preferred it to elementary. Like, the elementary kids are sweet and you do fun, cutesy stuff, but high school is a lot more fun because you can like be sarcastic and make better jokes. This part right here bothers me the most. That part might need a little bit more. So my thought is this is working like I said, much better than I thought it would. So my thought is if I do the color again and I feel like it's too much, I can just bring it down a little bit. That really makes that one line really stand out a lot. But I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put the stars down, I think. And then we'll let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll put the colors back on top. All right, are any of these dry enough? Yeah, sure, we can do this upside down. Okay, I have not done this in a long time, and it is very fun to do. So we won't see any here. If any get there, that's fine. So we're going to paint over that. But we're going to concentrate them in the darker areas where you would see them for sure. It's about time to redo my nails. That might be a project for this weekend. They're getting really chipped. So I'm putting some titanium white, the high flow, on my palette. And then I have old toothbrush. And I'm just going to tap the tip of the bristles in it. And sprinkle them on the canvas. And ideally, I would have done this right side up because I need to do this on the other sides of the canvas and not so much the bottom. But that's dry enough, so I can do that now. It makes a big difference to add that. Renee says, it blows my mind how simple this technique is and it makes it look so good, right? That's how I feel about it. And I do it controlled, like I'm not releasing all the bristles in a crazy way because otherwise it just gets everywhere. I don't need that everywhere. Oh, that was a lot right there. Too much right there? It'll get toned down and hidden a little bit. I might put a few other bigger ones on the top left area in here because there's a few nice big ones I got over here, but not really so much over here. So I just need to get most of this paint off my hand and out from under my fingernail. Renee says controlled chaos. That's why it's the perfect technique for stars, because it's chaos. They're not just like, it lets them do kind of their own thing. So I'm just gonna take my paint marker and do a few larger ones. Maybe make this one bigger. Okay. Spray bottle? Oh, you're hiding behind my water bottle. Yeah, the other thing about doing this is it totally always ruins my nails. Oh no, that came off. I must have gotten it fast enough before it really adhered. But like I said, it's time to redo nails anyway. My ruby slipper polish is very chipped and does not look as good. Vagabond says, what do we have left now? I have to redo the Aurora now. Because like some areas, it looks kind of nice, like in here, I think. Like this kind of half there stuff. But like the transition between these parts, I do not like. So that's what's next. But the stars need to dry because if I start painting on them, they're just going to smear. So I want to do a study of like Milky Way sky too, like a Milky Way galaxy sky. So if I don't think I can paint on this, I might do the first layer on that today. But this is looking way better. So I can see the shine from the stars, so it tells me it's still wet. Cool. Where is this photo? And I'm gonna favor this NASA photo just so I don't lose it in my camera roll. So I think I need to grab another canvas and block in for this one because this needs to dry. I don't want to ruin the stars that I've done. So they're over there. Let me grab one. Actually, do I have one? Are you an 8x10? You are an 8x10. We'll use this one. This one is very loose. This corner does not want to tighten up. That's better. Okay. You are gonna go over here now. Why do I need another canvas? Because this needs to dry really well and I don't want to paint on it today. So I'm doing something else. I need to do a second study anyway. Because I'm not sure how I feel about this for big canvas yet. So I might as well do another one and do one of a different type of night sky. Yeah, extra painting. Okay. What I need to do for this one is I do need to do basically just a gradient to start. Chess says, I can't believe they invented night sky too. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do full gradient and then build the Milky Way galaxy on top, or if I want to include that in my gradient at all. And which direction I want to go with this gradient. So I'm looking at a NASA photo of the Milky Way. Okay. I think I just need to do the gradient first. Okay. Let's put some color on my palette. We need whites. We need Mars black. And I need a little bit of... Do I want to use yellow? Because it has a little bit of a yellow tinge to it. But I'm wondering if I use, like, this yellow. It's so saturated. I don't know if I want to do that. But it's kind of a cold color. Bismuth. Bismuth is colder. Pants is warm. Cat is warm. Oxide's warm. Cat warm. Sulfur's warm. Let's check my neutrals. Titan buff is already super light. Okay. Bismuth it is. I'm almost out of this. Do I have more? Zinc. Oh, I do. I have 2 more. So my plan here is to do gradients and let that dry. Not strong enough. Ow. There we go. But now I can't do it over here over the palette. I'm so weak. Okay. I need to start doing something for like my hands and arm muscles. Because I'm getting leg muscles from cycling. and probably some sort of core because of balance, but I'm not getting anything for arms. I suppose I can also talk about it now. I fell on my bike yesterday and really scraped up my leg. Nothing major. I did not break anything. I'm mostly just embarrassed about it because I made it to the end of the driveway and fell. Discord knows I posted about it. I think this yellow is just too saturated. I think I need to tone it down a little bit with some violet. So, I know I've told the story about getting clipless shoes for like $17 or something. And I'm real proud of that because that's an incredible deal on those. Medium violet? Yeah, medium violet. So, I bought clipless shoes, got a great deal on them, and like from what I've been reading, with no training, I can get like 1 to 3 miles per hour faster using them, which is really good. And if I like keep working with them, I can get like up to 7 miles an hour faster, which would be awesome and incredible if I could get there. So I got clipless shoes real cheap because there was a company going out of business that was selling all their merch, or inventory rather. And like those shoes are normally over $100. I got them for $17. So that was really, really great. And then I had to buy pedals. So I bought clipless pedals and cleats. Put them on and thought, I got this. For the last few weeks, I've been considering how when you stop with clipless shoes, your feet are clipped into the pedals. You are stuck to the bike because there's something on the bottom of the shoe and the pedal, and you clip in like ski boots if you've ever been skiing. And so whenever I've been stopping for the last few weeks, I'll downshift my bike so it's in an easier gear, and I'll just mentally spin my foot on the flat pedal because that's how you unclip. So I'm like getting that muscle memory. Anyway, yesterday morning I thought, all right, it's time. I put the cleats on the shoes. I got the clipless on the bike. We're going to do this. And so I stood there out in the driveway and worked on clipping and unclipping for a while. And I thought, okay, I think I just need to do this. I got this. And I got to the end of the driveway, right next to the recycling bin. And I tried to stop, and I couldn't get my foot out of the clip. It wouldn't unclip. And so I just went over. So it was embarrassing, and I'm fine. I just scraped up my leg. Chain popped off my bike, so I had to redo that, come inside, wash my hands, treat my leg. And then I went and I stood on the porch with the bike, and I held the railing and just worked on clipping and unclipping there for like 30 minutes. So once I get going, I think I'll be fine, but it's the stopping, like, oh shoot, unclip. So I need to just keep working at it. And I'm sure in a week it'll be second nature and I'll be fine. But for now it's not, and I just kind of panic. Like I was saying in Discord, like there's this feeling like, oh, I forgot. The bike keeps moving on me, and I forget that brakes exist. Or like, oh shoot, I can't get my feet on the ground, it's so far away. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have to get off the seat and put my feet on the ground. I don't know, it feels like everything I know about riding a bike is just gone. So it's kind of funny, and I'll get better. Vagabond says, how do they increase speed? YT Glitchy, that's very funny because that's exactly what Brandon sent me. And he said, this is what happened to you. Or this is what will happen to you. So they increase your speed because your feet are in these shoes and they're very, very sturdy. Like normal shoes have some flex, right? So bikes shoes don't, like they don't move at all. So you're clipped in And when you do the pedal motion and you're bringing your foot back up and around, normally your foot just rides that flat pedal all the way up and your other foot's giving the power. So you're kind of alternating when you're engaging your muscles. And then on the ride up, you're just kind of like, your foot's just kind of riding on that flat up and around until you can do more power on the downward push. But when you do clipless, you're clipped in, so you can pull up on that back foot. And the shoe is stuck to the bike, so you're pulling up. So you get more power consistently through the entire cadence of pedaling. I was talking to someone I met out on the bike trail, and she's a mountain biker, and she goes and does mountain biking stuff, and she's like, I have to because it helps my feet because I had some injuries. She's like, but my foot kind of floats inside the shoe, and that helps relieve pressure off my toes. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. She's doing a thing this weekend, tomorrow morning, that I really would like to do, but after doing Zelda tonight late, I don't think I should get up that early and go do it. But it sounds really cool. We could talk about what you were up to last night. I can talk a little bit about that. Last night, there was a museum in Durham that was doing after hours, adults only, and it was science. It's a science and the Life Science Museum or something. And they were doing like mixed drinks that were related, and they were talking about science. So they had a cyanotype thing that you could do. They had Noah, if it happened when you were here, you know you would go. They had the sweet pea flower pH indicator. So they had some tea made with sweet pea, which is purpley blue. And then they had orange juice and lemonade and strawberry juice that you could like mix them and see the pH indicator change. So like that was cool. So we had a great time there doing that, and it was a lot of fun. A Sand-type like thing? Yeah, actually, I was telling Chaz, and I probably say it on the vlog, that I actually bought stuff to do cyanotypes because it's something I've wanted to do on fabric for a long time. And I bought the fabric, and I bought the emulsion, and I just haven't had a chance to do it. Because it would be another outside setup like Garden Stream was. So I'm mixing up my light color for this gradient for this sky. And it's looking like this right now. You can see it's a little yellow. Just a little bit. And my desire to make it saturated is very high, but we're trying to not do that. We are trying to keep it desaturated. However, I should mix more of it because I have all this white paint. And I'm also thinking, so this is going to be a 2-color gradient between Mars Black and then this yellowy color. And because that is such a contrast, because it's almost like the biggest contrast there can be, right? Like white and black, that I should make a mid-color of the two. Just preemptively. I'd show you the cyanotype I made, but it's downstairs. Maybe I'll remember to show it during stream tonight. If not, I can, when I go downstairs, I'll just put it up here for next time. Can the crypto bring it upstairs? He's busy right now. It would have to be Kepler or someone else. Renee says, not me Googling what the heck a cyanotype is. So cyanotype is similar to photography, and it is light sensitive to UV. So you paint it on a surface like they used to do photography, and it's blue, which is where cyan comes in. And it looks green, and then you put stuff on it and you take it out in the sun and let it expose, and then you wash it off, and then it's left blue with like white spaces where the stuff had been. Just pull Brandon out from under the couch. Nah, can't today. Okay, so I have Mars Black, a gray mix, and then this yellow mix. Okay. What paintbrush do I want? Probably this one. This one's great for this. I also need water conditioner. Where are you? Renee says he's not under the couch. He's wrapped up on a blanket on the couch. A heated blanket. That was my housewarming gift to Brandon when he moved here, was a heated blanket. All right. So we have light pollution. Let's move this out of the way so I don't accidentally get paint on it. Like I just got paint on my apron. So because this is such a big gradient and it is such a change from this light yellow color to black, I'm putting a lot of this down because this will get overwhelmed and get dark very quick. So now we're moving into the gray. And I'm trying to just give it like a solid line here. And then we're going to blend it down into the yellow. Croton says, will any videos be coming to YouTube channel or is the main focus switching to Twitch? Actually, I think that's something we talked about last stream. I will be doing time lapses on my channel. I have given those to Dan to do. Or I don't know if he has the footage, but Dan has agreed to do them. So there will be that on YouTube at some point. And the plan is for when that happens is when the eBay listing will go up for that painting. That worked really good. I'm really proud of that gradient. Now let's get it into Mars Black. Here goes something. That looks cool, but it's not what I want it to be. It needs to be darker. Like, it's a good gradient, but I need it to be darker. There has to be less of this yellow. And that's what Mars looks like. A bigger brush would have made this easier. And you have to keep a consistent pressure or you start to do what I just did there. Better. What I think I need to do is switch brushes. And just pick up a little bit of yellow. Okay, much better. Cool. Now I get to do the sides. That's a pretty good blend. Let's try the other side. Maybe this. Also a pretty good blend, but I don't like the lines I'm getting up here. That's better. So like this part up here is supposed to be Mars Black, but because of the way the gradient went, it's not solid Mars Black. It's some lighter version with the gray in it. Now this side, I need to have clean brush because it's lighter and I have a lot of black on this paintbrush. And I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to do anything with this painting other than just a Milky Way night sky. Like if I put trees or something in it, maybe. I don't know. It might be fun to just leave it sky only, so I need to do the bottom here with something. Stay there. This is very wet. So it needs to sit where it's not touching anything. And then I'm gonna do a gradient in my sketchbook with those same colors, so I have it because I want to test something. What was that? The neighbor kids. No, that's not fake Brandon. He's much older than the ones that are screaming. It's the group of kids, it's the rock kids. One of these days you gotta buy rock. The other day they put their house for sale. The kids did. They wrote for sale and put it on the garage door. I was very amused. Vagabond says, how much? Right? Okay, I have clean paintbrush. So we're gonna do gradient on this, but I don't want to put it up here because I don't want to knock that down, and that has to stay because it's not touching anything right at the second. So I'm gonna do this on my lap where you can't see it. But I'm literally doing the same thing. Like, here's the yellow. I have a ton of this yellow, so that's partially why I'm doing this. Into gray. I'm just not being as clean with this gradient because it is a test on a piece of paper. And I'm out of black, so I need more. Mars? There it is. Litter says, oh man, can I make an offer? $10. Evelyn says, 15, take it or leave it. They're really up to something today. All right, here's our next gradient for testing. It's not as nice as canvas gradient, but like I said, I was trying to just do it just to A, use up some paint, and B, have a space to test on. So that exists. Now I have all this extra paint, so it goes on the paint thing. The paint sheet. Paint sheet. Come here. I'm trying not to get my hands covered in paint. Okay. There's that. All right, so yeah. Very happy with this gradient. It turned out much nicer than the paper one. So my plan is for this is next time I paint, I'm going to do Milky Way clouds and then stars, obviously, because it's a night sky. And just wear gloves then? No. It washes off easy enough. I don't want to get paint on my hands and then go to touch something else and ruin it. That's the worst. Clothes, I don't care about that. I don't buy expensive clothes. But I don't want to go like touch the Aurora painting that's on the floor and get this gray on it. That would be the worst. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash brushes, clean off my hands with this towel, and then I'll hold that up. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So let's see. I need to build big canvas and stretch that. So sometime next week, either Tuesday or Friday, I'm going to do that as a stream. So we'll go through building a canvas and stretching a canvas and gessoing a canvas and then using keys to tighten that and all of that. And then the other stream will be continuing on with these two paintings, the Aurora and then the Milky Way one. Radio Dread says, ooh, the whole process. Yes, the whole process. Like I said, I haven't done that since college, the whole process start to finish. They actually made us build our own stretcher bars in college, which I am not doing here. That I don't have any woodworking stuff. And yeah, and then we'll finish up these 2 studies, and I'll decide exactly how I want to do the sky for the 30 by 40 inch canvas, and then at some point we'll do 30 by 40 inch canvas. And I do suspect that 30 by 40 inch canvas will take a while, as it is large. So I do have some other stream ideas. I can obviously move to nail streams for some of them if I need a break from big canvas, because big canvas will be a long project. I had Brandon gesso wood panels to do paint pours, because when he moved here, I was like, have you ever painted? And like, I know he's done art because I've seen some of his drawings and they're quite nice. He's like, I've always been interested in trying a paint pour. And I'm like, well, maybe someday we can make that happen. So when I was trying to think of what I needed to do to take a break from big canvas, I was like, oh, I could do some paint pours. And Brandon wanted to do that. So that might be a fun stream thing whenever he's in town. I've had these cookies I've wanted to make also, that we had in Japan. And obviously I don't have the recipe for it because they were packaged cookies, like commercially made cookies, and they were so good. Chaz says cookies, yeah. Chaz bought these cookies when we were at the Edion Arena for sumo, and they were phenomenal, and we both loved them. And I ate a few of them with the thought of, I need to figure out how to make these. So memorize this taste and this texture. Okay, it's kind of butter cookie, but the packaging says white chocolate. So like, I have some ideas. And I don't think I'm going to make a bad cookie trying to make these cookies. I'm just going to try and make those cookies, and we'll see how close I get. That is the hope. So like, those are some things I want to do that I can take a break from big canvas if I need to. And like I said, I do hope that we start getting some of these time lapses out on YouTube soon. I do need to talk to Dan. I'll probably talk to Dan. I'll see him tomorrow. So, let's see what he thinks about starting that, because he did agree to it. I just don't know when the plan is to start that. And I did take eBay and Redbubble of the Sumie and Time of Day paintings. So like, those exist. I just need to make sure they're ready for the time when Dan is ready. All right, let's talk about these 2 paintings, and then we'll talk about what's going on coming up. Actually, let me get my hands clean first. Chryselium says, bad cookies do not exist, except maybe the soy sauce cookies. Yeah, so my thought is find a butter cookie recipe, replace some of the dry ingredients with powdered white chocolate, which I have. And my other thought was use some powdered milk also to make them creamier instead of some of the other ingredients. Because that was kind of my thought when I ate the cookies in Japan. Burnt cookies though? Bad, Radio Dread says. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Kita says, I saw a video for sour cherry and feta cookies yesterday. It has me intrigued. Cherry's one of my favorite things. So that does have me intrigued, and I do love feta cheese. All right, things that are coming up before I move to canvases while I'm still getting all of this gray paint off my hands. Tonight we're doing Tears of the Kingdom on Steven's channel. We have labyrinths to do, we have shrines to get. There's some other things that I have that we know we need to work on. I do not know what Steven and Friends is tomorrow. We've recorded a few things. Next week I'll be doing more Dark Cloud, and we did just unlock Golf for Speeda. So I can continue on through this dungeon, or we can go to some old dungeons and do some of our dungeon crawl that we're going to have to do to get metals and ingredients and all sorts of things and play Speeda. in those old ones. And then Tuesday will be painting or canvas building, one or the other. I haven't decided exactly what day next week I'm going to build canvas. And then normal stuff from there. All right, so Aurora painting. This is Aurora painting. It is coming along. The stars helped, and toning down like some of these colors, like where the pink is, helped a lot. So I need to go back over and like fix this change between these two to make that look more natural. And it will also push some of these stars in here back because the Aurora does sit on top of them. These guys don't get pushed back at all, but some of them that sit on top of the Aurora should not do that. So in redoing the Aurora on top, it will push them back in space visually. So that's gonna be the plan for this. I'm gonna set this down here where I won't ruin it. And then this gradient, this will be Milky Way night sky. So we'll do like the Milky Way clouds in here, and then we'll put stars on it. And I'm a little worried it's too light, that I didn't go dark enough with it. But I also tend to do that, and I need to keep myself from doing that habit. So it's going to be a test. This is why we're doing 2 studies. I can decide which sky I like best for big canvas. We get 2 really pretty paintings. They will both look good, but it'll also show me like, okay, well, I really like this, but I need to go darker with it, or I need to go less yellow, or I need to do X, Y, and Z. So like I said, they're both going to be good, but they're a good practice for the big one to make it exactly what I want. Vagabond says, I never trust the process, but it's looking great now that it's dried a bit. Yeah, I know. That's why I have to tell myself that, because like, sorry, I'm choking on my water. Because I know what I'm doing, but still I'm like, I don't trust what I'm doing. And then it turns out and I'm like, I should have trusted what I was doing. I know how to do this. You're always learning. And then we have a test here because I do want to test putting some clouds on these colors before I do this. So we have lots of experiments going on. Chryselium says, drink slower, please. That's not my problem. I just sometimes inhale when I should be not inhaling when I'm drinking water. I Spy Moose says, is it easier to fix something if it's too light or if something is too dark? It is easier to darken something than lighten something, I have found, with acrylic. Because I have shading gray, this is basically just the dark, and I can just paint this on and blend it down as like a transparent shadow across everything else, which is what I did with the Aurora, right? I darkened that, but I find that when I use the equivalent in white, do I have zinc around? I do, way back here. So this is zinc white as opposed to titanium white. And this is their little markers. So this one is titanium and this one is zinc. So what Golden does is they print these 3 black lines and then they put a swatch of the actual paint and the actual thing on top of it. So you can see how transparent it is. So this one is a lot more opaque and this one is a lot more transparent because you can see all 3 lines really good. So I find that when I paint this on something, it's just milky and ugly, and I don't like how it looks at all. So I've used this in, I want to say it was the Limbo painting, but it may have been the other one. And I find it just doesn't look great because you see all the paint or the brush strokes in it. And that's not what I want to happen. So I did watch a video on how to do it better, so maybe that'll help me, but I've never liked using this to lighten things up. So that's always a struggle I deal with. Zinc white is good for tinting colors, and that's kind of how I feel it's only good for. Rio says, is your sketchbook a normal sketchbook or is it specifically for painting? This is I like this sketchbook. I should probably just grab a new one because this is literally the last page in it and this is wet. Here's more tests I have. Let's try not to close this. This is what I use. It's a dry media sketchbook, so it's good for lots of things, and the paper's a little bit thicker for when I paint on it. And I don't always paint in it. I do like to swatch things. Like, here's a cloud test, and here's some swatches of different colors for things I did. So I do like to swatch test in it. Oh, I did have an extra page. Whoops, I meant to do this there, because there's a hole here that I cut for a tracer. So like here's some swatches. Here was a grass test I did for the time of day piece. Some sky tests and swatches. This was for the Sumie piece where I was testing the gradient. Swatches. Notes about what colors I'm doing. And then here's like sketches that I was doing. So this was the last video I did on MalMakes. So that's normally what's in here. And this was done in color pencil, and then I put some shading gray on top of it to darken it because it didn't feel dark enough. And that felt like the fastest way to accomplish that. So like here's a rock test for this one. And like I don't always add color when I do this. Sometimes it's just a line. Here's some math I was doing to figure out the exact dimensions of the windows. Sometimes I only do the drawing. So there's a lot in this. I'm still trying to not get the piece of paint that's wet. This was a sky test for this. Here's the other Sumie testing, and here was me testing different red. So swatching that. These were the pour paintings I did where I poured the planets and then painted the galaxy on top. Here's this one. I'd considered adding like some like glowy speckles around the base of this, and I tried it. And I was like, that looks good. And then I tried it on the canvas and I didn't like it, so I erased it. Oops. That's fine. It's just a perforation. So yeah, there's a lot of different testing that goes on. And it's time for a new sketchbook, because like this was supposed to be on this page, but it's fine. And I have another one right over there. All right, thanks everyone for being here. Oh, I should do this. Thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, there's links in the chat for you. Vagabond has them. Join me tonight on Steven's channel for Tears of the Kingdom, and then Monday on this channel at 7 for Dark Cloud 2. We're going to play more Speeda and do more dungeon crawl levels, and probably work on Balance Valley. Finish up Chapter 3, but I don't think we'll finish it because there's so much to do. I think we're like 40% done with the building. Sounds about right. More golf. Yes, more golf. Thanks everyone for being here. Hope you have a good Friday, and I will see you tonight for Tears of the Kingdom on Steven's channel.